This is your host, Sean Johnson, creator of Bench Minor Hockey, and welcome to episode number 25 of our Bench Minor Hockey podcast. This is the hockey podcast that covers single A hockey news and stories from players and staff. If you are listening to us on Apple Podcasts, be sure to follow us. Or if you're watching us on our YouTube series, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And today, our first returning guest, actually, Mr. Gary Gill. Thank you so much for coming back on, buddy.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. So we haven't really spoken since our first episode together, which was actually 6 months ago. Can you believe that?
Wow. Time flies when you're having fun.
I guess so. So what have you been up to?
I've been taking care of family things and family members, and I just recently was named head coach and general manager of the Richmond Generals USPHL Premier and Elite teams.
Absolutely. And we'll get to that in a moment. On our last show, we actually talked about Binghamton Black Bear hockey, such as your role, the guys you brought in, and your plans. How do you think your season started when you were there in Binghamton?
Yeah, it just started good. I mean, we had a pretty good record, and we were first in power play, second on the penalty kill. Fans liked what they saw. We weren't being pushed around or anything like that. We made sure we took the bull by the horns. If guys got out of line, we made sure that we would try to put them back in line and just play the game. But I thought we started out really good. Always massage the roster and stuff like that, but there was always room to grow. We knew that as well. I thought for second year program, I thought we were out to a running start.
Absolutely. You guys looked really sharp. You looked very fast. You guys looked healthy. You guys were scary looking. I want to bring up the John Morassi situation real quick, actually. You kind of shocked the single A hockey world by signing him early in the season. I know, fast forward to now, he only played one game. He's since been released. But what was your original plan by signing him?
So, John is an amazing person, and our original plan was to play him in enough games to allow him to play in playoffs. That was before he signed on to do another full season of Shoresy. He was unaware that was going to happen, and he has a bunch of other irons in the fire that I can't say anything about. I can just tell you that a major network TV show he's going to be on. That kind of took precedence over hockey for him at that moment. And, but the plan was to get him in here and play, enough games to get him involved for playoffs. And just, the world turns, things happen. And John is, he's offered to come back here and there. But obviously they've released him now because they've had to make roster room and roster spots. And then they've cut down the roster, which, they're making it very hard to have guys, be part-time players when they dropped it down to, I think it's 19 now from 24. 19, that's a few roster spots that are hard to, you can't just have a guy that plays every now and then. And I thank John for doing all he did. And then even that one game, that one weekend he was down. He's a phenomenal person. And the goal was between us is to get him in as many games as we possibly could. And like I said, real life sometimes gets in the way.
Absolutely. It does happen. It's unfortunate that the plan didn't happen. We would have loved to seen him play a few more games, but totally get it. I also love Shoresy, so I'm excited for the next season.
Yeah, it's great show for sure.
Absolutely. So right after Christmas, you took a personal leave of absence from the Black Bears, and I won't ask you to share what happened or what that was about, but is everyone involved okay, safe? Has the issue been resolved?
Yeah, they are now. They were probably, I left at the end of December. And so by probably the end of January, first part of February, everything was hemmed up and everybody was healthy at that time. And I was able to, start trying to figure out what the next move was here for sure. But thank you for asking.
Of course. Happy to hear that. Like, that's priority every time, safety and health of everyone. Sometimes it's more than hockey, you want to make sure
families first. Families first.
100%. So let's talk about Brant Sherwood a little bit. He was named interim head coach while you were away. Did you get to select your replacement, or did you have no say in that process?
No, I mean, I helped with the process there. We were looking for someone that could come in and uh, you know basically take over while I was gone, and lead the charge. And we had a couple candidates, not many, that we felt could come in and one, not be $1 million coach, and two, that would try to take over what I had created and move forward with that. So, yeah, I mean, I had a little bit of say in it, but ultimately, I mean, it's Andreas's decision for sure.
Right, absolutely. And it's got to be tough finding a coach in the middle of the year, is it not?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like anybody else, and this is no knock on Sherwood by any stretch, but anybody else that would probably be worth their weight in gold at that point was already taken, or on to other things at that time and just couldn't be there. So I mean, yeah, I mean, Woody's played he's played in the league, played in the SP. He's done a good job.
Absolutely. And while you were away, I'll say when you first took your leave of absence, your first couple of weeks, did you get a chance to watch the Black Bears play hockey?
Oh yeah, I haven't missed a game. I watch every
Okay.
single game. Um, yeah, I mean, it's a strange feeling being on this side, knowing that what you started isn't the same. But I try to leave it. I also am smart enough to know, and I also feel for Woody quite a bit because at the end of the day, the way the team started was my vision. When Woody took over, it became his vision. And do I like every change he made? No, but you know what? I didn't like every change I made either. So, I mean, but I respect what he's done. And I saw different things happen on the ice that were good and bad in my vision. But you know what? It's like being an armchair quarterback. I'm watching through a video screen. I don't hear it on the bench. I'm not seeing it like up close and personal, like Woody is and like Andreas is. I'm seeing it from afar, and yeah, I mean, change is good and change is bad. It just and I'm not saying his change. I'm just saying in general it could be either way, and you really don't know what you're getting. And coming in and being a first year head coach like Woody has done, I mean, that's a tough road to hoe for sure. That's hard.
Absolutely. It's funny that you mentioned like armchair GMs. Someone like me, I can watch. I know the sport of hockey, but I watch the game and I see something. But you're a head coach. You may see something totally different. How do you think, as an armchair GM, Brant has performed as a bench boss for his first few weeks while you were out?
Well, I think he did good. What people don't realize is it's a hard thing to do to jump into that role behind someone. First off, he's got the interim tag. He doesn't know how long or if he's going to be there the whole season. But more importantly, I mean, he's trying to now learn everything that I've done, all the players and their habits and what they do and what they don't do, and how to adjust his coaching to fill that void. Like if the defenseman's weak to his right side, I mean, how do you adjust to that? I mean, what are you doing to adjust? Are you having a forward help him? Like he had to learn all that. And he had to learn all that quick. So in the
Mm-hmm.
beginning stages, I mean, I think it was a learning curve for him because there's a lot to do. It's really a lot to do. So, I mean, when Woody first took over, I think he did a great job.
Right. No, I agree with you there. Um, so we'll say I won't say recently, but over the course of his tenure so far, he's released a few hometown guys that were fan favorites. MJ Merkel and Gino D'Angelo. I know. I know that hockey's a business, but do you think those were the right moves?
I'm not going to second guess what Woody's thought process is on that at all. I will tell you that they're hometown guys. I think I mean timing is everything, right? Like MJ Markle was earlier in the season, so did it hurt? Yeah, it hurt. Um, but the roster was a little bit different at that point. The one with Gino D'Angelo just recently. Um, Again, I can't second guess him. I can just say that if it was me, I probably wouldn't have done Gino at that just because of the timing. I mean, we're like what, a week away, 2 weeks away from playoffs.
Mhm.
But again, I don't know the roster spot situation there right now. I'm not there. I don't communicate with him about that. I don't communicate with Andreas about that. Um, I'm watching it through a TV, and having a local guy like Gino, who's beloved by everyone, is one thing. You love it because he's a hometown guy. You hate to see that happen because he is local and he is hometown. But at the same breath, how is he performing? What's he doing on the ice? Was he doing everything that Woody wanted him to do? I don't know. I'm not part of that, but
Mhm.
yeah. So if that makes, I'm not trying to dance around. I'm just, it's a hard thing for me to say on the outside looking in because I don't know all the particulars of, you know, you know, was Gino happy not playing as much as he was? Because I mean, he wasn't playing that much because of the talent that Woody was bringing in, and other guys coming back like Jesse Anderson. That changes a lot of dynamics for him. So yeah, I mean it. Again, I don't know enough about the details on why it happened. I just think from a timing standpoint, it sucks for Gino, sucks for the Black Bears because he is a hometown favorite kind of kid.
Mhm.
And he's such a nice kid too, such a really nice kid.
Right. Well, that was a definitely a respectable response there. Um, I think it's kind of crazy that the crosstown rivals Elmira Mammoth picked him up just in time for playoffs. So we could see a first round between the Mammoth and the Black Bears, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know the seeds aren't set in stone yet, so
Elmira picked up Gino. He picked up MJ Markle. I'm hearing through the grapevine that they could be grabbing Gavin Abbott from earlier in the Black Bear season. Gavin Abbott left shortly after I did, or was released. I don't know what was there, but he's another local guy there that I'm hearing rumor that he could end up there. Now, whether that's true or not, I mean, again, I'm on this side of the screen, and I'm on a screen. I'm not privy to all that information really, and I have nothing to do with Elmira. So that's just word on the street is that they could end up with another black bear over there.
right. It's just like all the Watertown personnel went to Binghamton. Now all the Binghamton personnel are going to Elmira, so the whole
Yeah,
region is just cluttered with great hockey players.
yeah. Well, and a lot of it lends itself to that they are local. It's 45 minutes down the road. You're in Elmira. All three of
Right.
those guys are local guys that could easily just drive there. So it makes if it was Elmira, and it makes very good sense that they would go there because it's close.
Absolutely. So when you took your leave of absence and Sherwood was named interim head coach, did you plan on returning to resume your head coaching duties, or did you know at that point you were done for the season? Can you walk us through what happened a little bit?
Yeah, I really didn't know what how long or I would be gone or what would happen. Like I said, I'm not going to get into specific details, but there was some personal family matters that needed to be taken care of with illness and stuff like that, and I just uh, I just had to focus on that. And Andreas, boy, I mean, when I told him I had to leave and told him why, he was 100% supportive of it. He understands it. I mean, he has two small kids himself now, so family is very very important. And you know what? Hockey will always be here, but your family members may not. So um,
Mhm.
it was a decision that I had to do. I didn't want to do it. I mean, I love the organization. I love my Black Bears Nation up there. Some of the best fans I've ever been around, support wise and stuff like that. And to this day, like I mean, I get messages on Facebook and Facebook Messenger that just wishing me well, wishing the family well, telling me that they miss me, and stuff like that. And I tell you, that goes a long way to the heart. And so for I'll just say this, I'll always bleed green because of the support that I had in that town.
That's amazing to hear. Well, they are 100% right. We do miss you in the Fed. Um, but you got an awesome opportunity coming up here with the Richmond Generals. You've recently been named as the head coach, GM. Um, so how did that opportunity even come up?
Well, it's funny because I was really planning on not doing hockey anymore. I was going to step away completely um, and just admire the game from afar. To take a break from it, and you know, I really wasn't looking to go back and coach junior hockey again. But a friend of mine, his name's RC Like. He was the head coach and general manager there since its inception of Richmond Generals. And he reached out to me. He said, "Hey, I know you've been through some stuff, but this is a great opportunity for a well established program. We need somebody with your type of experience, your type of knowledge that can come in here and give back to the kids." I'm really, 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 how do I say that? Dedicated to that kind of thing. Like I really like helping the kids get to the next level and learn live their dreams out. College hockey, pro hockey, whatever it might be. Luckily for me, I have connections in both worlds, so I'm able to do that. And after some talks with RC and then on to the ownership of Richmond Generals, Mr. and Mrs. Robinson, they were phenomenal people to talk to on the phone, and we were able to hammer out some details. And with the junior hockey thing, it's a little more time off. At Thanksgiving I can come home for a couple of days. During Christmas I got a pretty good break going. The money, the money is phenomenal for me, and it helps quite a bit. So it was one of those things that it just came out of the blue. Like I was not like I went and got my CDL license because I was just going to drive truck around town so I could be right at home just to make money, because I wasn't, once I left, I wasn't making any money. I had to find a way
Right.
to make money. And after talking it over with the family, I'm close enough. I'm only, instead of being 23 hours away, being in New York, I'm only 9.5 hours away here. So if worse came to worse, I could get in my car and be home in the same day.
Right. No, that's awesome right there that you can,
Yeah.
get back home if need be. When you said that RC kind of reached out to you and he's been the GM since its inception, why did he decide to step down, or what changed on his end?
So RC, no, I mean, he built a phenomenal program. He loves the Generals, but, I mean, he's been there for over 10 years. Change is good. But he was presented with an opportunity to go to a hockey academy and be a part of an ownership group that was going to do a hockey academy down in Atlanta. And he's another guy that gives back to the kids. Right now he's looking for 06, 07 birth year hockey players, so the younger. And he gets to mold the young minds of a hockey player and hopefully get him to live his dreams along within the academy, which I think is, it's admirable that he's willing to take on that challenge, because it is a challenge. Nonetheless, when you talk about academy just versus just playing junior hockey, that's education as well. And him and his ownership group, I mean, I know a little bit about it, so I don't want to speak too far out of turn on it, but I think it's going to work out really well for RC and his group.
Awesome. So obviously this is a single A podcast, and most of us basically just watch single A, Fed or SP games.
Yeah.
Teach us a little bit about junior hockey. Like, what does the season run? Is it the same as pro, or is it a little bit different?
No, it starts sooner. So training camp is usually at the end of August. The last 2 weeks of August. They play well, they're well, I don't know how many games they play now. They're talking about going to 44 games, and I think that's down probably 10 games or something like that, from what I understand. I'm not 100% sure, so I don't want to quote on that, but I know they're talking about a 44 game schedule. The best part I like about it is I don't have to worry about the schedule. The league makes the schedule and says, "Here you go." You don't get to go in and say you got to give them the blackout dates for your arena, and they plug in who you're going to play and when you're going to play them. You don't have to worry. You can't call and say, "Well, yeah, I know, but we really want to play, Elmira on this day and not Columbus on this day." You can't do that. It's set for you. So, but I mean, yeah, I mean, outside of that kind of thing, these kids, it's constant recruiting. Not like it's not in the pro. The difference between pro and junior recruiting is in pro hockey, your phone's always ringing, and in junior hockey, you're always calling. So my phone's always in my hand, and I'm always calling somebody. And whereas pro, I was always answering it, and it's easy to hit the "not right now" button. But when you're coaching juniors, that phone rings, you better answer, because it could be the difference between you getting a top six forward or somebody else gets and one of your competitors. So
Absolutely. What would you say are some of the major differences between coaching junior hockey and minor pro?
I just think you have to be able to break it down a little bit more. Pro guys have already been through the juniors and through college for the most part, and really have an understanding of the game. These kids are still um, they're hungry in a different way, right? Like they're hungry to get to college, and they're hungry to have that opportunity. So, I mean, you give a guy a free T-shirt on this Richmond team, and they'll run through a brick wall because they they trust you. Um, and that's how for most junior programs, especially this one, where RC has been there a long time. Guys trust the process and they trust what they've seen over the years. And I think that I want to say they've been in business for 12 years and they've been to nationals 8 or 9 times. So, the kids, they thrive on that. They know that, placement, the biggest thing in junior hockey is, can you develop a kid good enough to get him to an NCAA school, college hockey? That's what it's all about. I have a pretty good reputation of when I coached juniors before of placing guys. In the pro level, you're trying to get guys to move up to the SP and coast. It's a little bit different though, based on who's coaching in those areas, like what, and guys get so caught up on, well, I should be in the SP. I mean, well, if you should be in the SP, you should be dominating the Fed before you think you should be in the next level. And now the SP and the Fed are so close with talent level, but yeah. So to me, that's the biggest difference. Just working with the kids to get them to college is the big thing.
Gotcha. That's very cool. Just a couple more questions here for you before we let you go. I know you said, you want to go to Richmond to help the kids. I know you said it's close to home for you. Is there anything else that kind of enticed you to choose Richmond?
No, pretty honest. It's close to home. The money is really, really good. Like I said, I wasn't planning on doing hockey for a while. I was going to take off some time and just try to regroup myself and get my bearings. And I had off since the end of December and trying to worry about family and stuff like that, and overall life. And but I mean, it's hard pressed for me not to say that the money that I'm gonna be able to acquire in Richmond wasn't a factor, because it is. It you know the difference in money from the Fed to a junior team, believe it or not, is drastically different for a coach. Drastically different. But you're in charge of creating young men's minds and good community, young men, and get them involved in the community, get them where they're not out drinking and partying, and keeping them in a straight line so that they can really have a better life for themselves. The pro guys are already been through it, done that, and they're making their decisions. They're men. They're making their own decisions. So it's our job to guide them a little bit more in juniors.
Absolutely. Definitely hear you there. Does your season run kind of the same amount of time, or
Well, they just ended.
right?
Richmond just ended. They were just in the Nationals last week. Yeah. So last week, their finals were last week. So they started in the first set of games is in September, and it runs all the way to the end of March. So
Gotcha.
yeah, about the same. It's just shifted. Pro hockey starts in October. Late September. It depends on what year the Fed decides to do what they're going to do and when it's going to start. I want to say it started earlier this year in September, if I'm not mistaken, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
Right. Final question for you here. Now that you're not a coach in the Fed, I think you can answer this. Who is your finals prediction? Who's going to be in the finals and who's taking it? How many games?
Oh boy. That's tough because there's some really, really good. I mean, Columbus is probably the best passing team in the league. They can really move the puck well. If they can focus on team play, I think they could jump in there and win it. It's going to be a really interesting battle these next 4 games for Columbus and Carolina, because They're in a dogfight right now. Um,
Yeah,
a sleeper in it though, right now, I gotta say, I mean, Motor City's playing really well,
they are.
and Babin's nuts in the net. He's a good goalie, but he's nuts. So it really depends on what kind of game Babin's going to have as to put, whether Motor City can bring it. Motor City has, I think, beaten everyone in the league at least once.
Hmm.
So I think they're a sleeper. Um, but I don't know. I mean, you can't count out Danbury because
It's
they're
tough
not
this year.
healthy. If they're healthy, they're going to be hard to beat just because of the way they play. They play a very heavy game and they're not afraid to throw that body. And that's good. I mean, I love that kind of hockey. But Carolina's playing really good. So I mean, I don't know if I can pick one. I don't, because it really does mean if the stars and moon align for a certain team. Columbus could do it if they get on track, right? Like if they really buckle down and start, playing like they usually can. This last month though, they've been struggling a bit, and I know this. I'm really good friends with Jay Krupp. I love the guy to death, and I love that team. Jeff Krupp too, and I on paper they probably have one of the best teams in the league. If they all come to play and they put their, I don't know. Listen, I don't know. They're inside their locker room. I just know what I see on video. If they can all put their egos aside, and this goes for every team, Motor City and Binghamton as well. If you can put your egos aside long enough for the betterment of the team, I think Columbus has an excellent chance to win. I think Danbury has a really good chance to get in there and battle it out. I would guess it's probably going to come down to Danbury out of the I don't is it the Continental Division?
Empire.
Um, Empire. Yeah. So yeah, I think Danbury comes out of the Empire Division, unless Binghamton's goalies can get hot, um, depending on what goalies in the net. Um, but I would guess that you know, uh, I would guess that Danbury would come out of that, and I know that's going to be hard for my Black Bears nations to hear. Um, I just think when they fire on all cylinders, I think they'd be tough to beat by anybody in any division. But again, I don't know what's going on in their locker room. I haven't seen Giselle in a while out there.
Mhm.
Johnny Ruiz has been in and out of the lineup quite a bit lately, more out than in. So, I mean, but they have some great guys like Marchison, who was with us actually, and he's now with them. He does a good job. Kuznetsov does a good job. So that's a team that if they catch fire, I
Mhm.
mean, they're winning games right now, in my opinion, that they should be winning. Like it shouldn't be a challenge for them. But they've also lost a few games that I was a shocker to me that they've lost. So
What's going on, Bench Miner? I hope you enjoyed that last episode. Unfortunately, due to technical difficulties, the video did get cut short, but that's okay. I just want to say thank you to Gary Gill. I love having him on the show. I love talking hockey with him. Super upset that he is leaving the Fed, but unfortunately, that's life. He's pursuing a new opportunity at Richmond. So I just want to say thank you, Gary, and congratulations. And we can't wait to talk with you soon. Tune in next week on Thursday for our first SPHL episode.